Hello everyone. Welcome back to Geek Vibes Nation, but a new segment for Geek Vibes Nation. It may be Tia and Brittany, but we are doing a brand new segment other than the top 10. Now, that doesn't mean that the top 10 is going away. We are just kind of supplementing a different sort of, thing to try out in between. And it is called GVN's Coffee Break. And again, if you're new here, hi, I'm Tia, and hello, Brittany. How you doing?
It feels so much different when we're actually talking like face to face. I'm like,
I
oh
know.
shit, there she is.
Yeah, normally we just do audio, but we're like, let's do visual for this one, which I said to Brittany before I hit record. I was like, oh, look at you all professional with your Twitch room and everything. And I'm like against the wall with the freaking couch and my shadow
You're so
there.
professional, girl. You got this. You got the. Now I was just telling her about how when I do Zoom for school, sometimes I bring my laptop to school and I do it that way. Other times I have to do it from home. And this shit gets real embarrassing when you're like with other students. I don't put on the lights, but the ears are kind of like, this is literally the only headset I have.
So, what I wanted to tell you, Brittany, was not right before this, a few hours before this, I had my interview with Tim Rosen, who, for those who don't know,
I
played.
hate you.
For those who don't know, he was on Schitt's Creek. He played Doc Holliday on Winona Earp, and he's currently on another sci-fi show called Surreal Estate. He plays Luke. But his agent was like, oh, let's do a phone interview. And I'm like, well, we don't really have any way to record over the phone. Can we just do a Zoom audio? And she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's do a Zoom audio. So I'm like, cool. I don't need to get ready. I went to the city today.
Oh shit.
I went to the city today. I went to a wedding this weekend in out of state. I was like, I'm exhausted. That's fine. We're not even gonna do like face to face. I don't need to get ready. Like I put on some eyeliner for this
Good.
but I didn't want to put my contacts in because I've been wearing my contacts too much. But anyway, long story short, we get on the interview and he also turns his camera on. So I'm like, I felt obligated to,
Oh,
but I wasn't even here. I was like in the bedroom. I was like, my lights were already off. So as it was getting darker, it's like I was just getting darker. I had no makeup on at all. And I'm just sitting there going like,
oh, I bet you were gorgeous anyways, but that would be hella like stressful.
you're being nice. I was embarrassed. I'm like, and he was like, I'm just gonna say he was looking good. He had like a 5 o'clock shadow going on, and he was like super nice. And I'm sitting there going like, I look like garbage. Can this not?
Oh my gosh. Well, you look gorgeous now, darling.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, we will put that in. I will put that interview up at some point. So make sure you check that out on Geek Vibes podcast. But yeah, so this is a new segment. We call it Coffee Break. Brittany, do you have your coffee? I have my coffee. She's like, where's my
I
Red
have
Bull?
I have sparkling water.
You're already
Girl,
failing the theme
I
of this
know.
segment.
Girl, I just literally got home. I got home like 8 minutes ago.
You could have put the sparkling water in a mug and at least been like, yeah, I have coffee.
Fuck, I could have done that. It made me think of Ratchet from Transformers Prime. He's like, "Don't call me sir. I work for a living." That's how I felt like you're like, "Where's your coffee?" You're slipping. I was like, "I work for a living."
Girl, we all working. No excuses. Oh wow, she's got the fancy sparkling seltzer. Look.
Look at it. Sick of it. That makes me think of my French professor would be turning out in his non-existent grave because
I
he
was
is
gonna
very much
say.
alive and is very in his future guy. And you know what? He's in bed right now and he's just like, I felt the urge to just roll around.
Just rolling around here.
Bruh.
Oh my god. No,
Um,
while you were at work, I was in the city. I was in New York City. I was seeing an early screener of Shang-Chi. It was amazing.
She's bougie. Oh, I got to go see the movie early. I was talking about that at work. I said this bitch got to go see it early because there was screen, and they're like, I just need to know, is it good? And I was like, apparently it's awesome.
I definitely give it the thumbs up. My written review will be out on the site on the 23rd. But we can like react to it. Obviously, no spoilers, but
Yeah.
definitely good. Like the action sequences were amazing in it. It's like you got a lot of good fight scenes. So I was really happy about that. And the bad guy is like really good as well.
I need to see it. I kind of hate you. I don't hate you, but I'm definitely jealous.
It's okay. I have that going for me.
She's like, I may have had a traumatic experience with the man of Duck Holiday, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I got to go see Shake. By the way, if I keep looking to the side, so Tia knows that I have become an utter dice goblin of making D&D dice, and I literally looked over to the side and I said, "Look what is happened, Tia. This isn't even half of them. This isn't even half of them. Look at this. Look, I don't know. Wait for it. Oh God, there's filling, but I got so many. And Tia, we were talking.
Are you even doing anything with them? Like,
no, I'm just giving them away. I thought so if we were on the subject of like what we'd be talking about and stuff, I was like, I just looked off to the side and I just literally had an epiphany that went, oh God, I have a problem. I still got to sand these. And I told my boss, I said, I'm supposed to sand these and polish them. I go, but I'm just addicted to making board dice. So I go, okay, I'll just set those to the side and I'll wait. I got to make more.
Where did this come from? I feel like this is the most random like hobby I've ever heard of.
Okay, so you know how Dan and Jenny, they just absolutely love D&D, right? Mm-hmm. And D&D has gotten more popular.
I want to interrupt just to give a shout out Dan and Jenny from our friends over at They Call This a Movie and Game Vault Podcast and Stranger Damies. Those guys. Hey,
hey, well, like, they love D&D, and D&D is getting so big again, and it's always been big, but apparently, obviously with Stranger Things, you start to see another resurgence, and it's becoming, nerd culture has become so popular now, and the thought of being like, especially with like Critical Role, I haven't watched them very much, but they're basically like a bunch of voice actors that got together to do D&D. So it's like they made these characters and these stories, and they're like, it's like not fan fiction, but they're almost like role playing, but they have the voices to do it, and that made it really popular. And so I kept seeing on TikTok people making D&D dice, and I kept getting suggested videos, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's easy, I'll just do that. Get some Amazon molds. They suck, so what do? You go look for the right molds. You know what they are? They're $120 for the set. Then you know what, the resin, well, it's $50 for 16 ounces of it. Oh, but you want to do this other thing, you need a pressurized paint tank so you don't get bubbles in it, and that costs another $100 and something. It's not a cheap hobby. It is now because I don't have to invest anything else in but the resin now. But
can I tell you really quick, and I'm going to make this brief because this is going to go up on YouTube, so I don't want to really talk about it or like divulge too much into it. But when you said resin, I thought of something else, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Oh my God, I know. I literally have had somebody say that to me, that at work they misunderstood me. Yeah. And I said, nope.
No,
not that kind. Not that kind, unfortunately.
But what you calls it? So yeah, I think today was okay. Today was good, movie and everything, and went to a wedding this past weekend, Kelly's wedding. It was nice, and then I had an interview. So yeah, good shit. So
good shit.
Maybe we should get on to our topic of the day. And I did want to say, so for our new segment, Coffee Break, Brittany and I kind of thought that we're going to do something where we take like one or two topics. Today, I think it's only going to be one just because it's our first time. And so like we're feeling it out. But we're going to take like one or two topics and we're going to just like blab about it. And then at the end, we're just going to talk a little bit of video games. And our topic for our first coffee break is a topic that everyone loves, honestly. Like, let's be real. If you do not love this person, there might be something wrong with you. And that is and that is Brendan Fraser. Now I want to start this by saying that Brittany had not seen The Mummy prior
Don't call
to
me out like this.
I'm calling you out.
Don't
That's
call me
that's
out
the
like
whole point of
this.
this. That's the whole point of this. I'm calling you out. Freaking Brittany hadn't seen The Mummy up until like a week ago. And I'm like, how are you a 90s child if you've not like seen and obsessively rewatched The Mummy? I'm calling you
My
out.
thing was I had seen Brendan Fraser. Looking back, my brain didn't put it together, but George of the Jungle, and I didn't really like. That was such a like the Tuki like that shit was like I was so obsessed with it, and I don't know if I was really obsessed with him, but I was obsessed with the movie. And then I knew about The Mummy, and I knew that he was in a couple of things, and even remember one day before it became like a really hot topic because it's kind of like how everybody seems to have a mind synchronicity where they're like, what happened to Brendan Fraser? Like everybody starts to realize he was gone all at one time because they go, well, that movie was great. Well, what happened to him? And so everybody had talked about The Mummy. Everybody talked about loving Brendan Fraser. We did love him in Doom Patrol, even though we mostly just had his voice, but, adding personality to Robot Man. And I think, I was like, oh, I need to see The Mummy, and Tia would talk about it. And I love shit about like ancient evils coming back to life. I love that kind of stuff. And also ancient Egyptian stuff. And I was like, okay, Tia's been on me. I need to watch this. And I went, oh my God. Now I get it. Every time, but I will say there's so many people who are like, I watched The Mummy for the first time. They go, Brad Pitt or Brendan Fraser. And I'm like, oh, Brendan Fraser.
Do you mean Tom Cruise? Because Tom Cruise was like in the remake, like in 2015. We don't count that.
We don't count that because I was gonna say everybody always asks like which one was it when I say it's the Brendan Fraser one. I say everyone always says it, but every time I've said it so far, they're like, good. You saw it. I was like, and not to just jump straight into it, but my thing with his character, even in The Mummy, is that we always get a lot of Han Solo types, right? Where it's like, oh, they're the adventure, they'll never be tamed, they're this, they're that. What I really appreciate, but I'm trying to remember because I knew his name was Rick. It's O'Connell, right?
Yeah.
O'Connell.
Which is what they mostly called him.
Yeah. And so, I think, you always have to have like these very masculine sort. They're very like, I love you. I know, that kind of thing. But with his character, it was like, I think he really showed that a character could be strong, masculine, and stoic and all these things above, but also be like a gentleman. Also be, he wasn't like, women. He was very like, he never seemed like the womanizing type, except for that part where he grabbed Evelyn and kissed her at the very beginning.
I will say, like, looking back on it, you're like, oh yeah, that's like very kind of bold of you to do. But I'm telling you, when you're younger in the 90s watching it, you're like, I want to be
they
her.
do explain it though. They do explain it though, because whenever she goes, then what was that kiss? He was like, I thought I was going to die. Yeah. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I was like, you know what? Good enough. Good enough. That's good enough reason for me.
I was gonna say that like he unapologetically loved her though in the first one. Like, yes. like he fell in love with how like intelligent she was and quirky she was. And I have to tell you, so I didn't want to like put too much on you because I'm like, oh, watch the first one. But now you do have to watch the second one because like, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm just saying the reason I'm afraid of the second one is because I'm really fucking afraid they're gonna make it where they broke up and now they gotta reignite. They never did. Oh, thank God. Thank God.
No. I'm gonna tell you that right now. No, their like love is like as strong as ever. They're just like now a team at this point. It's one of those things. No, it's one of those things where I feel like The Mummy 2 is just as good as The Mummy 1. It's just slightly different because like in The Mummy 1, it obviously takes place in Egypt. Like they're adventuring over there. But in the second one, some time has like I'm not really spoiling here. I mean, the movie's been out for like fucking ever, but they're married at this point. They have a kid. Like some time has hopped, right?
Oh shit!
Yeah, and the movie starts off in London. And it's kind of like really interesting seeing it start off in London and seeing like these traces of, say, ancient Egypt in London, but then it does go back to Egypt. It's really interesting. I liked it, and there's a lot of like references back to the the first one. Remember in the first one, I forget now because it does reverse. I forget, is it Evie or her brother that are supposed to be reading the ancient text, and they're like, it's like a hawk, it's like a bit like they're trying to figure.
Yeah, okay, so it was the brother trying to say it to her while she's running from the lady that wants to kill her. I can't pronounce her name.
Yeah,
and then like, yeah.
So I'll say right now that scene is just like that, but reversed in the second one. And I thought it was like a really interesting, like it's her reading. And no, I'm sorry, I believe it's the son actually. See, I mean, but I remember that was it's the son, because then you have the brother who's TJ, and you could tell he's like so proud because he's like, I was having those struggles, years ago, and now I'm helping him, do the same thing. I liked it, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying like that was just my worst fear. So I thought they would make it really annoying, whereas like they really changed it up with the Mummy. It kind of turned those like, yeah, there was stereotypes, but it wasn't like, sometimes they made the guy like downright like not abusive, but like just so like, okay, yeah, they're together, it's great, blah blah blah. But with them, I was like, oh, their love stayed true. What? I can dig this.
I loved them so much in that movie. I love when she's drunk and she's like, I am a librarian. And he's just looking at her like, okay, crazy lady.
And when she's like, and I am going to kiss you, and he's like, okay, and she's like falls forward, and he catches me, and he even goes, because he's like,
he's like, all right, again.
He's like, I didn't get my kiss, but it's all right.
It's all right. He gets her in the end. I don't know. It was just one of those things where in the Mummy, first of all, like everyone's so beautiful in that. Like, Rick O'Connell is beautiful. I personally found Emotep good looking back in the day. The freaking guy, Ardeth Bay. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The guy with the tattoos on his face and everything.
Yeah.
I was all over that with the long hair back as a child.
I know you were.
And then, and then Evelyn was beautiful. So it's like it literally had everyone for everyone in that movie.
I love the brother. Fuck Benny though.
I'm sorry. To me, one of my like favorite scenes in that movie is him just like taking out all the necklaces to try and appease Emotep before finally getting to like the right one. And then he was just such like a little snake. I'm sorry, I didn't feel bad for him when he died in the end. And I was like, that's what your greed will get you.
All right. I was gonna say, like, I did like the in between of O'Connell. That's another thing I liked about it, is O'Connell was gonna try to save him, even though he hated him. He had all these times to kill him. The only thing is he threw him overboard, but I mean, he did abandon him there.
I think that he wasn't doing it to like kill Benny. He was just like, he knew Benny was gonna like get out of that. He was just taking it straight. O'Connell was a good guy all around. So it's like, I don't know, you had Brendan Fraser back in the 90s playing all these iconic parts. He's in The Mummy, he's in The Mummy 2, he's in freaking, as you said, George the Jungle, which is also a fucking classic. He was in this movie back in the day called Bedazzled. And I know that's like a terrible name for a movie.
That sounds familiar.
It's a terrible name for a movie. It really sounds like Bejazzled or something like that, but the movie wasn't like half bad. It was all about him selling his soul to the devil, but the devil was like a woman in this and shit like that. And I don't know, for some reason I really loved it back in the day. What?
I can dig that. I can dig that. That actually sounds really good. That's on the list, Tia.
That's on the list. I loved it. And then, I mean, he was in so many others. Encino Man. He was in so many he was like, if you grew up in the 90s, you knew who the fuck Brendan Fraser was. There was no way you didn't know who Brendan Fraser was. And if he wasn't one of your favorite actors, then you just didn't have taste in movies. Like, you loved Brendan Fraser. And there was something about, I think, every character he played that was just endearing that you ended up being endeared by Brendan Fraser. And I don't know, did you ever watch Scrubs?
Yes. Yes, I
Did
did.
did you ever watch the episode with him in it?
Yes, we talked about this. It was so sad. It
Yeah,
was so freaking sad. It took me off guard when
it
thinking
did
back
take me
now.
off guard. Me too. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I was just thinking about how like sad it was, and looking back, I'm like, is that one of the last performances he did before his hiatus?
Let's look. Go
Because
ahead,
I
sorry.
do remember I know like I was reading a thing on Brendan Fraser about all the things that happened to him, and one reason he really took the long hiatus is because he started having surgery after surgery after surgery because he was doing his own stunts, and he said that he felt like he was being kept together with like string and all this stuff, that he was so badly hurt. And then when he was cued to do his first interview that he would have done in years, his mother passed away right
Oh,
beforehand. And that like just furthers him away from doing it. Plus, other things that have happened to him. But just that, I won't lie, I cried whenever I watched the little interview thing when he got choked up because that
oh
girl
my
told
God,
the
yes.
interviewer, oh,
So
so sad.
that scene in Scrubs is one of his like last performances essentially before he took his hiatus and then like came back years later. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna completely echo everything you said. And then a lot of it too also came from the fact that like he, and I want to like tiptoe around this again because of YouTube and shit like that, but
Yes.
he had some, he was essayed, I think is how
Yeah, I'm
you
gonna
can
say
you
that's
can
normally
say it,
about yeah.
how you can like get around and saying it and everything. And when he tried to come out about it and talk about it, he was essentially blacklisted by Hollywood, which is really fucked up. um and then the real like spotlight on Brendan Fraser again came from that there was this article in 2018 from GQ magazine, which was essentially this whole like piece on Brendan Fraser, interviewing him and everything. And then I think that's when everyone kind of realized like, oh shit, Brendan Fraser hasn't been around for years. And I don't know what, like, I think we just didn't think about it. We were like, no, he's always around. And then we were sitting there like, no, 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 he actually hasn't been around for like
Yeah.
years. And that article really like shed the light on that.
Oh, I just always felt so bad for him because it's like between all that stuff, it's like, and he was so loved and everybody was so, missed him. I just felt like, he disappeared kind of in the height of his, career. And but he did let his body just was destroyed too. I mean, I couldn't imagine if you're having surgery after surgery, how do you even go about acting?
No, I had heard that, and I didn't even know that he had really like hurt himself doing a lot of his own stunts. I didn't even realize he was doing his own stunts. Like
I didn't either.
I figured that he was getting stunt doubles and everything, and so to find out that he was like, doing his own stunts, it's like shit, that makes a whole lot of sense, and I felt really bad.
Yes.
I also felt
Eh,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing.
You were just agreeing. Thank you for
I just
agreeing.
agree.
And what you may call it. Polly's texting me. I'm like, hang on.
She's like, I gotta take care of my man. But
We're very loose on this segment of our podcast and everything. I figure that we can be nice and like, I'm taking tips from your Twitch stream. I watch you and everything. So I'm like, I want to be that level of laid back.
me laid back, I've never been laid back. I don't know what you're talking about.
But
Never.
when I had heard that Brendan Fraser was like coming back to do Doom Patrol, it was as if I don't this like warm fuzzy feeling kind of came over because it's like he's
Yeah.
back. He's back.
I still remember when they were talking about Doom Patrol and you're like, Brendan Fraser, and I was like, who? Because like for me, looking back, I know who he is, and I know that at some point he meant something to me, but I hadn't had him fresh on my mind forever. And now looking back, you kind of pull back all those nostalgic feelings, and his story is so tragic. You're like, oh, we need him back.
And he does a phenomenal job. Like, I actually watched Doom Patrol, and I can say that he's one of the best parts of that show. And he brings so much heart to a performance that is, say, 90% voice acting. I mean, there are moments where he's there physically himself, but most of it is voice acting. And the fact that
Yeah.
you can like feel that much about his character is just a testament to like how great he is.
Mm.
But I do want to say the interview that you're talking about, like, definitely chokes me up as well. So,
Yeah, right.
so for those who don't know, Brendan Fraser recently did an interview with a TikToker who's like a cosplayer. I forget her name now at this moment. I think it's like Lolly Little or something. I'll research it, put it down below. But to give credit where credit is due. But she was interviewing him, and they were talking about that he's been cast in a new film, a Martin Scorsese film, which is a huge deal. It's Martin
But
Scorsese. I think it's called like Killers of the Flower Moon. And Brendan Fraser was talking about how like nervous he is because again, it's a Martin Scorsese film. So he's like, okay, there's some pressure here. And she pretty much said like, what we're talking about,
yeah.
the internet is behind you, like everyone is
Oh.
rooting for you. And he literally started tearing up, and you see he like had a cowboy hat on, and he like tipped, he was like, oh shucks. And I was just like,
And by
I
the
love
way,
him.
is he Southern? Because when he goes, oh, he's like, oh shucks, ma'am, or something like that. I was
No,
like,
he's
oh, he country.
no, I believe he's Canadian. I don't think he's country. I think
He's
now he
ours.
I think now he lives in say like Texas or something, but I'm pretty sure he's originally from Canada. Let's look
Every,
it up.
everything's better in Texas. I was gonna say bigger, but I don't know how that goes with him, so I'm just gonna go with better.
Better. Everything's better.
Better.
Says he's
Better.
a, it says he's a Canadian American actor. Uh well, he was born in Indiana. So there's that.
That
He was born, but
that
I
holds up. That
that
holds
holds
up.
up. But I think he lives in freaking Texas now. So yeah, but I love Brendan Fraser. I'm rooting for him so much. I just want him to do good in life.
I know. I feel like he's had enough curveballs thrown at him.
I
But
I saw this TikTok the other day where this person was like, not, I don't think they were necessarily making fun, but they were like pointing out how Brendan Fraser looked back in the 90s and how he looks now. And this one person then reacted to it and was like, that's just called normal aging, right?
oh yeah,
Like,
I saw that. That got me. I was like, how can you say that about a person? It's like it's obviously been years. It's like, he's hurt. And it makes sense that if he would have been having done all those surgeries, that almost wasn't English I just spoke. Yeah. But if he's gone through that much, it's hard to be active like that, like he was when he was doing all that physical stuff. It's like he's hurt. That's what happens. You just get hurt, and sometimes you can't do like you would used to. Not saying he looked much different, but I'm just saying, the getting older part.
well, I just think that as people, we feel like we can criticize celebrities like that in a physical manner, where it's like you wouldn't do that to normal other people, but for some reason,
Yeah.
because they're celebrities, it's like, oh no, it's perfectly fine to do that. To them, we can make fun of their physical appearance, and if they have weight
Yeah.
gains or something, it's perfectly fine to say that when it's
That
not.
ain't cool.
No, 100% not. So I agree with that.
That, in the words of Mr. Rogers, they weren't being good neighbors.
They weren't being good neighbors. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that Brittany and I can pretty much agree that Brendan Fraser is a national and international treasure and must be protected at all
At
costs.
all
At all
costs.
costs. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just kind of to a quick thing of, Mr. Rogers, right?
Yeah.
Such a great guy. Wonderful. Makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. I was terrified of him as a child.
Why were you terrified of Mr. Rogers? That makes no
Because,
sense.
okay, so the videos would come on when I was a kid and at home, like during the summer, and his nice, gentle voice freaked me out.
Why?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I don't know.
I was waving hi to Polly. Just came home. So for the
Okay.
audiences, Polly's
Hi,
home now.
Polly. Hi, Polly. But
Yeah,
he
why were you afraid of Mr. Rogers? That's
it
like
was
being
just
afraid of Bob Ross.
it was because his voice was so soft.
It was what?
It was so soft.
It was so soft. Were you ever afraid of Mr. Rogers, Polly?
Tell them that he did have a creepy aura about him.
He said he had a creepy aura.
I mean, it was the soft tone voice. It was the soft tone voice. And now looking back as an adult and realizing how good-hearted and awesome he was, I'm like, am I a monster? Am I a fucking monster?
He was talking, Polly was saying, like, with the puppets and everything. And I'm just like, I feel like I know where you're going, but I don't want to say it on air where I feel like Polly's
like,
going.
Like that. It was almost like a horror movie thing.
A horror. You hear this? He's saying like a horror.
It was the soft tone voice, Tia. I'm telling you.
I loved Mr. Rogers growing up. I loved Mr. Rogers. I loved Bob Ross. I was like, they are my neighbors, and they are just nice, kind people here.
I know, but I don't know. Maybe if I was just a little more young whenever I had first watched it, because I think I was like 9 or 10 when I first saw it.
If you were too old and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I grew up definitely with Mr. Rogers. I grew up with Bob Ross. I feel like I watched Sesame Street as a child too. Like, did you ever watch Sesame Street?
I didn't really watch Sesame Street, but I watched Franklin. Hey, it's Franklin.
I didn't really watch Franklin. Did you see that it got canceled?
What, the turtle?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was getting a little too older.
Wait, it was still being produced?
Yes, it was still being produced.
What the what? No.
Yeah, it just got canceled like a few months ago.
What about Little Bear?
Little Bear wasn't really into either.
You disgust me.
I had Looney Tunes. I had all these other things that I grew up on.
Yeah, Franklin and Little Bear. He was Little Bear.
Oh my God. Can I tell you, I saw this TikTok the other day, and it was this guy who was like, what's one, what was it called? What's one name from a movie that's guaranteed to make a 90s kid cry? And he's like, and I'll go first. He's like, and he's like, it's a name that he's like, I will say it. He's like, and every 90s kid will cry. And he pauses and he goes, Littlefoot. And I just sat there and I was just like, no.
Golly. So that scene was incredibly sad, and I won't go into it because you do. But I always think about Ducky. I think about Ducky's story.
Actress? You're
yes.
Talking about the actress? Yeah, that's really
yes.
sad.
I was sick the first time I ever heard this story. I cried like a baby. And so now that memory's been overtaken of the Littlefoot's mother.
Oh yeah. Did you know they made like a bunch of those, and I can't remember how many of them I've actually seen, but I feel like I owned quite a lot of them. I just can't remember if
They were all good.
They were all good.
They were all good.
I won't hear any slander.
Yeah, when you think the Marvel company is making way too many movies, just look at Land Before Time, and it probably hasn't even touched it.
I sat there and thought actually the other day, it was like, wow, Marvel has really come out with like over 24 movies or something like that. And it's still going. Yeah. And there's still like a fuck ton planned, as well as like a shit ton of series.
I'm fine with that. I watched some guy on TikTok that was like, they need to stop making them. It's like they remade the same crap, a million times, and you still buy it. And I'm like, I will literally fight you in Minecraft.
It's so. Did you get that from freaking H3? I feel like they say that all the time.
A lot of commentators say stuff because you can't
actually say something because you could have like some sort of legal repercussions. So it's like in Minecraft.
Yeah, it's like oh, I'm gonna murder you in Minecraft.
In
Minecraft. And so it's just something that people do, like whenever they're doing podcasts or doing live streams. They're always like, In Minecraft.
In Minecraft. So we'll continue that trend so that no legal repercussions come onto us. Whatchamacallit it? What was I gonna say? I totally forgot. Yeah, I don't understand when people say that about the Marvel like universe. I sit there and go, do you just not want entertaining movies? Like when they say, oh, the Marvel universe should end, and it's like you you really think they're going to end that cash cow, and B, it's like they've had comics for like 60, 70 years now at this point. If they've continued with the stories in comics, what makes you think they're going to stop with it? There are literally years, decades worth of stories that could still be told.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, DC fans, if they've had to like continue to reboot every like 3 years because the formula hasn't worked for them. No, I'm sorry. Those were shots
fired.
Those are shots.
Shots fired.
Those were shots. But
we're gonna have to do shots with Tia and fucking just like let me grab my tequila.
She says as she goes and reaches for some tequila.
Funnily enough, I do have a big bottle right next to me.
So we talked about Brendan Fraser, and as we said for our first coffee break, we're gonna have like one subject, and then we're gonna go into like the gaming thing, because if you guys don't know, Brittany does streams on Twitch where she games. So I figured, let's incorporate some of this into our coffee break segments. And I wanted to, so I know that you don't play these games, but I wanted to mention it. So Rockstar. So, all right, I'm going to break it down really quick for you, okay?
Okay.
You're right. So, Rockstar has had, like 7 GTA games at this point, even though they're up to GTA 5. They've had things in between. So, it's like GTA 1, GTA 2, GTA 3, then they had GTA Vice City, GTA San Andreas, then GTA 4, GTA 5, okay? And they've actually also had like others for just like the mobile games in between, but I'm talking about like the main console games. And Rockstar breaks up their games by like universes. So it's like GTA 1 and 2 are like in their own separate. GTA 3, San Andreas, and Vice City are what's considered the 3D universe. And then GTA 4 and 5 are what's considered the HD universe. And you guys know I love GTA 4, and I've been sitting there like, when are they going to remaster that and put it on the PS4, because it's still on the PS3. So
what's funny is they probably move it to the PS5 now.
Yeah, honestly, at this point. So then Rockstar, which is the company that makes these games, just announced that they are remastering their 3D trilogy. So that's GTA 3, San Andreas, and Vice City. And they're going to release it on PS4, PS5, the Xboxes, Nintendo, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I get it. They're older and they definitely need like a remastering, but I was really sad that they aren't remastering the 4th one.
I know. I think probably the reason why they didn't is GTA's been getting a lot of trouble because they keep remastering GTA 5, not remastering but moving it onto the newer system. Because I think GTA 5 originally came out on the PS3.
It did. It originated on the PS3.
And then they moved it to the PS4. And I know you can buy it on the PS5, but it wasn't like, a full separate release. Then you could buy it on Steam for your PC. And they keep
updating the online. Like, I just started playing the online recently. You can literally like just continue forever, which pisses some people off because they're like, if you keep buying, you don't have to like pay, but like if you keep buying into all the updates online, like they're never going to be inspired to make a 6th one.
Yeah, they're like, this cash cow keeps flowing. It's still got milk.
Yeah, people are still buying GTA 5 and discovering it and then playing online. So anyway, it's like, I do agree that they need to remaster those 3. I don't see why you wouldn't. Like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games decided to remaster after 20 years. And like people love it. People got just as much into it. So it's like, I will tell you, it's like, I know games, like they always say like, oh, well, not always, but like when I'm into GTA, they talk about how like GTA 3 like revolutionized shit, or they talk about how good San Andreas was. I tried to play those after playing GTA 5. and it is like just so old and outdated. Like the graphics are outdated and the controls are the way. So I'm like, it needs a good remastering. But so that's my gaming news for the day.
I know I really need to play GTA 5. I need to play at least some of that. I know I've been slipping out of all the games I've played. I've been playing a lot of getting over it, and I haven't gotten over it yet, Tia.
You haven't gotten over it. Yeah.
I hate it. But with GTA, I keep feeling I'm like, when I can't drive, two, am I gonna make a ass out of myself? And then I'm like, three, I just don't want to suck, and I'm afraid of getting too attached to the characters.
Well, I mean,
I see how it's stolen your soul, Tia. I don't need the same happening to me.
it has stolen my soul. I mean, I right now I'm on my like third replay of GTA 5. I actually started playing GTA Online, which can I tell you, it is a vicious world in GTA
I
Online.
bet.
You're just driving and you're just minding your business. You're like, oh, I'm doing missions. I'm gonna go collect some stuff. I'm just hanging out, driving around, and all of a sudden, some other player decides to nuke you in Minecraft. Oh no!
In Minecraft, I know that.
Like, what the hell?
That's like there is a game, Red Dead Redemption Online, where it's like that, but Western. And it cracks me up.
It's by the same company, Rockstar.
Yeah. And so like sometimes you'll be walking and somebody's like, I'm gonna rope you. And I just like rope you like to like you can drag people behind your horse.
It's like ridiculous. All of a sudden, like and a lot of the people who are playing with mods. So it's like they're playing with these freaking like motorcycles that float and shit. And it's like, I can't keep up with them. I can't fucking compete against them, but they're nuking my character as I'm going. And it's ridiculous, honestly.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of whatever game that's ever like gotten me upset like that, but I can't think of like something I played online. Now I played CSGO and all those other ones, but I don't think I've just had where someone's absolutely destroyed me for no reason.
No,
I will say I was playing a shooting game where I did a call out, like said, oh, someone's coming around you. And they said, is that a girl? And I was like, oh god. And they said, I ain't no simp. And they kept killing my character over and over again. We were on the same team. Made me sad. And every time I tell that story to someone that's played CSGO, they're like, that's CSGO. And it is CSGO, but it hurt my feelers.
Yeah, Paulie said that my character keeps getting killed because she's a girl. And I'm like, thanks, guys. Way to perpetuate the like stereotype that girls aren't welcome into gaming.
Those bastards.
But Brittany, before we wrap everything out, before we wrap everything up tonight, do you have any gaming updates that you'd like to tell the people?
I'm trying to think of, is there anything coming out? What is going on? I'm trying to think. I'm really excited because there's a new Mario Party coming out in October and I really want it.
All right, so you'll be getting that and playing it for all your streamers, people.
I keep wanting to get the Mario Party that's already out right now, and if I do, I could bring it on my Switch, and when I come and see you in October, we can all play together.
That would be fun. I'd like
that. Would be fun.
I haven't ever played the
I would
Nintendo
beat
Switch.
You. We would play for drinks. We would play for drinks. It'd be great.
I've watched you play on stream. You suck at it. I would beat you.
I said Mario Party, not Mario Kart, and I would beat you at Mario Kart. My hands are so fast. They're so fast. They drive so fast. I got it.
Okay. But yeah, okay. We'll see when you come here how that works out. But yeah, so before I let you go, Brittany, that's it. Listen, this first coffee break, it was definitely the definition of loosey-goosey, but let everyone know where they can find you, what you got going on next.
I'm gonna say you can find me on Twitch at Itty Bitty Brit. You can see all of this cat ears, this, and a little bit of this. We don't talk about it. And then you can follow me on Twitter at ittybitty0, where I can post my dice goblin escapades because I have problems. And also every now and then you get a cat picture. So you know what? Be on the lookout for that.
Nice. Everyone, please make sure that you check that out. Brittany is a very dedicated streamer who spends a lot of time trying to entertain you all, so make sure that you go and appreciate that. As for me, I have plenty of awesome interviews and podcasts, our top 10s, which are up. You can please follow us on our YouTube page, which is Geek Vibes Podcast. Make sure that you are following us on social media, Geek Vibes Nation. Check us out, geekvibesnation.com. If you want to check me out on social media, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, TC_Stark. And this was our first coffee break, and I think that we're going to have many awesome other coffee breaks in the future. But until then, everyone, bye.
Bye.